Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you guys for all the support and feedback for my first tutorial. I thank God for making it a success. This next look you're about to see is an everyday makeup look. You can wear this to work, you can wear this for an interview, or just to run errands. It's just a simple makeup look that I do on myself every day and I want to share with you guys. So stay tuned. Hi everyone, so to start this look off, I'm going to start with my brows. I'm going to get my spoolie and brush my brows up. And then since I have oily skin, I'm going to use a mattifying primer just to prime my brows so they can stay in place and keep them from getting oily throughout the day. That's how I keep them from getting oily. So if you have oily skin, that's something you could try. Keep your eyebrows from melting. So I'm just gonna, and a little goes a long way with the primer. You don't have to use too much, so I'm just gonna brush them up some more. I'm just gonna use my brow pencil and follow the shape of my brow. I'm holding the end of the pencil to give me more control. And the less pressure you apply, the better. It even keeps you from messing up. So I'm just drawing like small strokes and just following the outline of my brow. And I'm going to do the same thing at the top, just small strokes. Again, take your time, don't apply too much pressure. Now you can make your tail as long or short as you want. I'm keeping mine shorter because I'm trying to go for a more natural brow look, so that's what I'm doing. And if you happen to mess up the line, don't worry about it so much because you can always fix it with concealer. I was doing the same thing, just following the outline. Let's put it at the top. And try as much as possible to get your brows to match. I know most of us, our brows never match. But since you're kind of drawing them on and filling them in, try to get them to match as much as possible. So to fill them, I'm going to start from the tail and then go towards the middle. So I'm going to fill out the tail as dark as possible. I'm going to go towards the middle, but I'm not going to go all the way to the front because I need to give the illusion of a natural brow, right? So don't fill it all the way in the front. Let's do the same thing on the other side. And if you want the tail to be darker, you can certainly make it darker. But for this tour, I'm just going to keep it natural looking as possible. So for that, I'm going to go in this a little bit. I'm going at an angle. So I'm just going to brush them up, blend the brows with the brow pencil. And after you blend it in, you can determine if you're going to fill them in a little bit more or not. Since we're going for an everyday look, not a dramatic look, I'm not going to fill them in that much. So if you see, like in the front here, if you want to fill it in a little bit more, just go back in with your brow pencil and just draw a line there. You can even like do light strokes to emulate the brow hairs actually. And then you can brush them up after. Make sure everything blends in well. So I'm just gonna grab my concealer and I'm gonna go ahead and clean up the brows. I'm just gonna put a little bit of concealer in my brush here. And you can grab a concealer that's closer to your skin tone if you want a more natural look, or if you want the brows to pop, you can get a concealer that's a light shade, a shade lighter than your skin tone. So this one is closer to my skin tone. I'm just gonna go ahead and then take your time as you're aligning the brows, that way you don't mess up. I'm just gonna align. On the bottom. Some more just to line the top. Whether you line the top or not, that's really your preference. Since I want the brows to pop a little bit, I'm just gonna line the top. And again, take your time. And at this point, if you want to shade your brows in a little bit more, you can. If you're satisfied with how your brows look, just go ahead and blend the concealer into your skin. I'm using a blender brush just to blend everything in. You can even use your fingertips if you want. Especially if you're using a creamy concealer, it's better to use your fingertips. I'm just gonna go ahead and do the same thing to the other side. Let's squeeze it a little bit more. Okay. And then sometimes you may get some concealer into the brow hairs. Just don't worry about it so much. You can always go back in with the brow pencil to fill that part in. So don't panic if you happen to get concealer on your brow hairs. Blend the concealer in on this side as well. And then since I got a little bit of concealer in my hair, so I'm just gonna go back in with my brow pencil and fix that. This brow seems like the shape is a little bit different, so I'm going to go back in with the concealer and try to get it to look similar to the other brow, right? So I'm just going to go back in here at the top. Blend that all into the skin. Just gonna brush them up one more time. And now we're going to move on to the eyelids. I'm going to use the same concealer to prime my lids. You can use an eyeshadow base, but concealer works just as good as an eyeshadow base. Just to make sure you have an even canvas to work with. It's even easier to blend the eyeshadows when your eyelids are the same skin tone. So going for a natural look, it's okay to use a concealer. If you're going to use more colors, especially bright colors, then you can use like a white eyeshadow base. But since we're going for an everyday kind of look, we're just going to use our concealer. So after I've blended everything in with my blending brush, I'm just going to grab a brown eyeshadow that's close to my skin tone, and I'm just going to blend it into my crease. I'll blend into my crease in my lid. You can use circular motions, and as you can see, I'm holding the tip of the brush, that way I'm not applying so much pressure, and that way it's easier to blend, And I'm gonna move on to the other eyelid. Goodness. And just try to blend it in as much as possible. You can even close your lid to make sure you're covering the whole lid if you want. Just gonna add a little bit more. Then at this point, I'm just gonna highlight my brows a little bit. My brow bone, I'm gonna highlight my brow bone here. I'm using like a goldish color to highlight the brows. You can even blend it in with your finger to make it look more seamless. I'm gonna do it to the other brow bone. Just gonna add a little bit more. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and apply our eyeliner. Use the liquid liner. So I'm just going to go ahead and if you're a beginner to applying liquid liner, just take your time. I'm just going to create my wing. You could even use a gel liner. That's usually easier for some people, but I'm using a liquid liner. But it's more precise, I guess. And if it's too hard for you to like draw a line, you can just draw small dashes and then just connect the line afterwards. That way you don't even mess up. I'm gonna go ahead and create my wing. Just make sure you fill in all the spaces so the skin showing. Then I'm gonna go in with some mascara, and you can actually stop at the mascara. Some people are blessed with long lashes, so they don't even need to wear lashes. Just gonna go ahead and put the mascara on. Usually what I do, I go over the top of my lashes first, and then I try to fan them out. That the mascara is coating both sides of the lash. And then it gives the illusion that you have longer lashes, so that's what I like to do that. Then I'm gonna go and line my waterline here with a black liner. Then I'm going to go ahead and add mascara at the bottom lashes here. Alright, so at this point, if you got too much mascara under your waterline, you can just go ahead and clean that out with a makeup remover wipe before you apply the foundation. That way it doesn't look too dark or it makes you look like you have a black eye or something. Alright, so I'm gonna go in with my primer. I'm using a mattifying primer since I have oily skin. And I'm gonna apply it on my T-zone area, so that's the place where I get the oiliest throughout the day. So I'm gonna apply it on my nose, bridge of my nose as well, and I'm gonna apply it a little bit on my forehead too. And a little goes a long way with this primer, so I don't wanna use too much. Sometimes if you use too much primer, then it leaves white residue, so you don't want that. And this is optional, but if you want a little bit of highlight, you can go ahead and use like a highlighting primer too. And just use it in areas where you want the light to bounce off of your face. So I'm gonna use it in here. On my temples as well, and just use your fingers to blend it in. After that, time for foundation. So I'm gonna go ahead and use a brush. A lot of people use beauty blenders, but I'm using a brush for this one. I feel like I have more control when I use a brush, so I'm just gonna pull my hair back a little bit. Then you want to press the foundation into the skin, so don't wipe it, because that avoids having like streak lines. So when you press it into the skin, it will easily absorb, and then it'll look seamless. So just take your time and just go ahead and blend it into the skin. And when you press it into the skin, it even prevents you from using too much foundation. Sometimes when you just wipe it, you just apply so much foundation that it's even harder to blend. So, and also make sure when you're using foundation, apply a little bit at a time, because you can always build it up. So just apply a little bit at a time, so it's easier to blend. You want to spend too much time blending, so. Just gonna add a little bit of foundation. Go in the middle here. And pressing into the skin makes it easier to blend as well, so you don't have to go back in with another brush or a sponge to blend it in more. Just put a little bit from my forehead area. Alright. Try not to get it in my hair. And make sure when you're applying foundation, you blend it into your hairline so there's no like line of demarcation. So because you want the foundation to look airbrushed instead of like, I don't know, something else. And for those that have discoloration in their neck, you can bring the foundation down and blend it into your neck area as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and highlight. I'm gonna use a concealer that's slightly lighter than my shade, my skin tone. I'm just gonna highlight the areas where I want the light to hit. So that's just the essence of highlighting, just making certain areas of your face stand out more. And a lot of people, they use a darker concealer to contour, but I prefer contouring with a bronzer. As long as I can get the highlight, I can contour the powder. It's even easier. So you can either use your foundation brush or you can use a different blending brush to blend the concealer into your skin. So I'm going to use a different brush than what I used to apply my foundation. And again, you want to press it into the skin. If you want a more dramatic color, you can definitely apply more concealer. It just depends what kind of look you're going for. Just gonna apply this a little bit more on this side. It's gonna blend it in. And when you blend the concealer, make sure you don't see any lines of demarcation. So you want everything to blend and look seamless. So you have to make sure you don't see any lines. And I'm gonna go in with another brush to apply my highlight. So I'm just gonna use a flat brush to do that. So apply enough there. And you can apply a little bit at a time. Since I don't want it too dramatic, I'm not applying too much powder. Just want to make it stand out a little bit, so. And remember, you want to press it into the skin, right? So we're applying this powder to set the concealer we just applied so it won't crease. So we'll keep it from moving throughout the day. Some in the middle here. Just blend it in as much as possible. I'm gonna do the forehead here. We're gonna highlight here. We're gonna do our like under the contour. That's what we're gonna highlight. So we're gonna just press that in. If you happen to get a little bit of powder in your dress, just you can use a clean makeup brush to dust it off. I'm just gonna go ahead and use like a clean makeup brush to just dust off all this extra powder, right? Alright. So then we're gonna go in with our bronzer and we're gonna highlight from the middle of the ear, following the hollows of the cheek, or following your cheekbones. So you're gonna use an angled brush and you're just gonna blend the bronzer into your cheekbones. I'm gonna do the other side. And I'm going in a circular motion. You can even make a fish face just to make sure you're highlighting or you're contouring your cheekbones. So the essence of contouring is just making your cheekbones more prominent. I'm just trying to make the face a little bit more warm. And I'm going to use the same bronzer just to contour my nose just a little bit. So I'm not going to do too much, just a little bit. Just to bring some shape to my nose. And to make the highlight stand out. So I'm just going to bring that down a little bit. Just gonna blend some more. Then we're gonna take any highlighter, pretty much your favorite highlighter, you're going to use it and apply it above the contour. And make sure if you're using highlight, just to apply a little bit at a time, because sometimes if you apply too much, then it's harder to blend out. So I'm going to just apply this a little bit. I'm just going to blend it with the other side. Blend it, blend it, blend it. And depending on how much highlight you want to apply, you can just apply just a little bit so it could be subtle. So for this, I'm just going to leave it at that because I don't want it to be too much, and I want it to have just a subtle highlight. So remember, this is an everyday look, so we don't want to be too dramatic, right? So I'm going to apply this a little bit on this side too, and then I'm going to use the other side to blend it. So I'm not leaving any lines of demarcation, and it looks seamless, right? Now, since I have a little bit left on the other side, I'll just go ahead and blend that and put some on my nose. And that's truly it's really a preference. I usually like to put some on my nose. And if you find that it's too much, you can always get another brush and just blend it out a little bit. Everything is a matter of preference. So. And I'll apply just a little bit with the same brush in my forehead area, just to make it stand out a little bit, right? And then I'm going to go ahead and apply my setting spray to set everything in place. And while everything is setting, I'm going to go ahead and apply my lip. So since we're going for an everyday look, I'm just going to do a nude lip. So you can just use a brown pencil to line your lips. Anytime you're doing a nude lip, it's always good to have a brown lip liner. And I typically like to fill my whole lips in actually with the brown pencil. That can create an ombre effect with the lipstick. After I fill them in, I'm gonna go in with a nude pink lipstick. Blend that in, and I'm staying in the center so I can create an ombre kind of effect. I'm gonna go in with another pink nude lipstick, and it's a little lighter than the first one, so it's gonna make it stand out more. And that is it, guys. That is it for the natural look. So I'm just gonna remove this, and voila, everything is all set. Just gonna make sure everything looks okay, and you're all set. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and stay tuned for more videos. Like, share, and subscribe. And thanks for watching.